Well, hey there, slot car adventurers. Welcome back for more of the crazy, zany Hughes Garage slot car adventures. I'm getting ready to do some more work on my 3A 3D Camaro, but every time I go to do more, something else comes up, and it's been a crazy week. How has your week been, by the way? Mine has been spent mostly working on the new family home theatre games room. It's coming up a treat. Still a lot to do yet, but wow, Mrs. H chose some awesome curtains. It looks very posh. Dare I use that word? Bit too good for me, I think. I might not be allowed to use it. Who knows? Folks, a whole bunch of you have been asking me since the last couple of episodes if I could do another walkthrough with Photoshop showing how to best size graphics, etc. So printing them out and in the real world they actually fit. So I've done it before, but I'm going to do a more thorough one today to kick off. So let's dive into that. I'll show you exactly what I do to get the end result that I get. Now, it's not the definitive way of doing it. I break it down to the bare bones, bare basics, step by step. No super tricks, just a methodical approach that gets results every time. So let's have a look. And grab a beverage, grab a few snacks, kick back, and I'll walk you through it. If you've had trouble with your graphics, trouble using Photoshop, by the end of this, you should be ready to go, okay? All righty then. For this exercise, I've got this billboard that I put together, this magnetic racing billboard. Put it together quite some time ago, and it was done especially for the Wildman's Thought for the Day little snippet that we have occasionally. And I'm going to make Wildman's Day today and finally get around to replacing this graphic, which you can see has seen better days. Now, the issue here is that I'm just using a home office printer, an Epson, which is pretty good. Epson, Canon, all those, they're quite affordable these days. Of course, they stiff you on the ink cartridges, don't they? But the irony is the ink isn't actually very good. As you can see, there's the proof on the screen right now. You give it 2 or 3 months and those colours, like that's supposed to be black. And as you can see, I don't even know what that is. Rust. It's not black, that background. And even the flesh tones are all washed out, and that's the UV component. Even though this has been indoors on the layout here, even the YouTube one here also, that's supposed to be a black background. It's kind of red, brown, rusty colour. These inks, these domestic inks, which they charge us an arm and leg for, aren't actually very good. And anyone who works in the print industry will go, yep, thank you. So folks, find alternatives. Don't pay full price for your ink cartridges on your domestic printers. They're not that good. Find a better alternative, a cheaper alternative. And don't pay any attention to, it'll bugger up the warranty on your printer. Well, your printer goes out of warranty after what, 3 months? A year? And they're like $98 to replace whoop-de-doo. You could class that as a consumable, really. The ink one round of ink cartridges almost cost the same as what the printer cost. I use these ones called Arc ink cartridges. I find them on Amazon. I've had no troubles with them. Even though when I install them, the printer goes, "Oh, these are not standard." Oh. I just get past all that and go use it anyway, and I've not had any clogs or issues with print not working properly. I've had nothing but good results. And like this stuff here, you're thinking, oh, what about the quality? It's got ink. This is the actual genuine article, these inks. So I'm not getting any worse a result than this. Like, see, that's what it's supposed to look like. That's the cheap-ass inks there. Look at the black is black, the blue is blue. In fairness, I only just did that, last week? But we'll see how it goes. We'll give it some time and see if it naturally fades and turns to, icky poo like this one. But Wildman's going to be very happy. We're going to redo this. But while we do it, I'm going to show you exactly what I do. So, we're working on our scenery. And we want to put a graphic somewhere. It could be here. It could be on this billboard, it could be here. So what we're going to do is get a reliable measuring tool, like, a ruler, and use millimeters, not centimeters or inches, use millimeters. So I've measured the width exactly in millimeters that that's got to be, and I've measured the height to get this accurate. And I've drawn a little diagram on a piece of paper which helps remind me when I'm sitting by the computer. I can look at this and see the orientation. So it's 123 millimeters this way, and it's 16.5. Yes, we're getting that exacting, folks, and it does work. 69.5 millimeters this way. Now, I'm going to create a template in Photoshop exactly to those measurements. That'll be one open project. Meanwhile, the first open project will be getting a hold of this graphic again and adjusting it and sizing it, doing a few things which I'll show you in just a moment. But for now, I've, mission accomplished. We've measured it. We've written down the measurements. I have measured 3 times, so it's, what does it measure twice, cut once? Well, I'm measuring 3 times. Let's do it a 4th time. So I'm doing this one-handed. So, yep, 123. Yep. And what's that? Yeah, that's 69.5. Look at that. Halfway there. Okay. I'm happy with that. So that's our little project. And again, that could be these things down here, you'll measure the height, whatever. These things, again, I measured these to suit, etc. Created a template, printed it out, and it fit perfectly. First go. What I'm about to show you and what I'm about to explain will help you sort this out. You'll be an expert at this. Before you know it, you'll be printing up a storm and transforming your layout into a great big mess like this one. Yeah. Get ready to rejoice. A messy, overcrowded layout is on its way. I'm just kidding, of course. Or am I? Let's go into the studio, fire up the workstation, open up Photoshop, and I'll show you exactly how to do this. And we're going to do it right. And boy, oh boy, are you going to be happy. Let's go. All right, here we are in my very messy music studio. It's quite a mess. We're having some changes in here, working on the home movie theatre outside across the hall, and everything's been dumped in here, so I've got to make sense of this all, tidy it up, and anyway, at least it's still it's still functional. Oh, I did some work on this guitar, final work, and it's so good now. Very happy with that one. Anyway, let's not get distracted. That's a good album. I should listen to that again. No, never mind. Let's mind on the job. So here's our measurements. And I measured the YouTube thing that's on the billboard further down. It's 102 millimeters wide, 31 high. So I've got to find these graphics. But look, let's imagine we've got nothing to work with. We're thinking, let's get this logo or that logo. Usually you go online and have a bit of a Google search, see what you can find, but folks, that is fraught with danger, because a lot of those images, first of all, the internet is fraught with smoke and mirrors. Things might seem okay on the screen, but in reality, once you get those things off the internet and into the real world, you'll find that the quality is not very good, especially if you try to print it out. It looks horrible. It's all blurry and pixelated and whatnot. That's because everything on the internet has been squished down to a much smaller file size, so that the internet doesn't seize up and fall over. Video files, audio files, and especially image files are squished down with data compression apps. Like audio, they typically use the MP3 file compression. Video has its own thing. And with image files, like logos and photos on the internet, they've been squished down into these little things called JPEGs. You've all heard of JPEGs, and images are compressed into JPEGs. So an image that should be, which we'll see in a minute, it should be a standard 300 pixels per inch minimum. They squish them down to as little as just 72 pixels per inch, which is next to nothing. Why 72? Because once you go beyond 72, so 70, 68, 65, the image, you can really tell it's been compressed. But if they didn't squish these images down, videos and that, like I said, the internet just would not function. The files are too big. Again, as I said, the internet, our whole internet experience these days, even in the age of broadband, NBN and all that stuff, it's still smoke and mirrors. It's a fake world. It's not reality. So when we're going to print something in the real world, especially if you're acquiring something off the internet, when you print it out in a physical form, it is probably going to look terrible. So for this purpose, we're going to know what we're doing. We're going to understand file formats, but we don't have to understand too much. But it's very important to understand. Otherwise, any efforts you attempt are probably going to be futile. So first, we're going to find an image that we like. We've got to find the best quality image we like. And then once you've found it, whatever that may be, here's the big mistake that everybody makes. They hit the download, or they hit, what do they hit? They hit on a PC, they right click, save image as to desktop, whatever. On here, it's, I think it's command click or control, I just do it automatic, can't remember one of them. And you save it. The problem with that, these files have metadata embedded into a lot of them, and you don't really know what you're downloading. You could be downloading a virus into your system. You could be downloading one of those Trojan horse viruses where these baddies take control of your computer and then they blackmail you into paying them money before they release control of your computer back to you. You hear the horror stories. These things are embedded into files that you download off the internet. You never know. You never know. So don't download them, right? Very simple. Don't download them. Instead, get the image file as large on your display as possible, like optimize. Like sometimes if you zoom in, it starts going all crappy. That's because they're JPEGs, scaled down JPEGs, are not full quality. But get the image as large as possible on your viewing screen, and then simply take a screenshot. Now, to take a screenshot on here, you're holding Shift, Command, and you're pushing 3. Now, you might have heard that click, and I have 3 monitors here, so it simultaneously took 3 screenshots. So let's have a look at the first one. Yeah, that looks like it. That'll go in the bin. The other one's the same, but the middle page, here it is. Let's click on it. Up you come. Come on. There it is. Screenshot. Now, when you do a screenshot, it's pretty much taking exactly what you're viewing in the resolution that you're viewing it at. You're not really losing. But here's the thing, you're creating a brand new image file, your screenshot, from what's being currently displayed. So effectively, what in reality, you're not actually downloading anything. Let the penny drop, think about it. You're not technically downloading anything. So what does that mean? In the event of, I'm not going to say it, you can figure it out. But you're technically not actually downloading the file. So how can you, you know what I'm getting at, right? Instead, you're creating your own new image file. And it's kind of like an insurance policy in more ways than one. But, of course, keep in mind that a lot of files are subject to copyright. You've got to be careful what you're using. Again, if you're not actually downloading it, you know, like, sorry, officer, I didn't actually download it. Oh, that's right. Yeah, just think about that. Anyway, I then use that screenshot and I'll open that in Photoshop. So let's imagine I've just found Waldman's graphic on the internet. In this instance, he's actually sent it to me. But let's say it's any old graphic I've found, image file I've found on the internet. I've just made it as large as possible. I've just taken a screenshot. So what I want to do now is open. I'm going to click on Control, click on the image, open with Photoshop. And there it is, Photoshop opened just like that. Yes, this is a kicker. This is my audio system computer, Mac Pro. Well, it's an old one, 2014 cylinder, but it still kicks ass. And as you can see, even though Waldman sent me his image, what he did send me was a bloody JPEG, not the full proper original artwork. When I asked him about it, he said, well, that's what I was sent. So whoever sent him the logo, why the hell did you not send him the full bloody file? A JPEG is for the internet, not for working with, not for putting in your videos, not for doing anything with. It's useless unless you're printing out a tiny little one or you're just using it on uploading it to the internet. If you're doing video production, useless. If you're doing anything, any kind of serious graphic work, useless. But there it is. You can see it. It's already getting a bit crapified, a bit blurry. Let's make it larger. Command plus. There we are. Look at that. Does that look clear? No, it's all bloody blurry. That's because it's a squished down bloody JPEG. So that's all I've got to work with. And this actual file, I converted it into a TIFF file. You can see up here, TIFF. A TIFF file is not compressed in any way. A full quality image file that has a minimum of 300 pixels per inch is usually supplied as a TIFF file. It's as it is. It's the full quality image, not compressed, not data compressed, not frigged with. So always try and get TIFF files supplied to you if you work with this stuff. You won't find them on the internet because they're just too bloody big in size. But I've taken this JPEG, and while I was working with it previously, I first converted it into a TIFF file, so no matter what I did to it, there was no loss. If you've got a JPEG and then you're working with it, then you're saving it as a JPEG, that's like the old days of taping from one cassette to another cassette to another cassette. Each time you went a copy, the quality got worse and worse and worse and worse until it was just all noise. Same thing if you're doing JPEG on JPEG, JPEG, JPEG. It just turns to utter crap. So important, try to work with TIFF files. But anyway, let's continue on. We've got our screenshot. And the first thing we're going to do, well, actually, let me demonstrate this with the other. This other image, and this is actually still a JPEG. Control, open with Photoshop. What I've got happening now is these tabs, I've got two simultaneous projects open at the same time. And if we get our mouse, we can go from one to the other. Now this one's got a lot of extra space, there's even some dots, so I'm thinking I might have actually screenshotted this. So that's what your screenshot might look like, as well as whatever crap was on your desktop at the time. First thing we want to do is go up to our trim tool, and we're going to kind of approximately trim that so it's better. It's get rid of that excess. So we've got a grid to work with. I'm just looking at the left and the right, looking at, you know, that bit there, that bit there. I'm feeling that's about right, and we double click in the middle somewhere. Now it's just automatically zoomed in, but just returning it back. That's what we got. And because it's a low quality JPEG, it's already looking blurry. But let's go back to the TIFF, which is still looking blurry because it's just a TIFF converted to a JPEG converted to TIFF. It doesn't automatically restore the quality. Once the quality is gone, it's gone. It's just reducing it or preserving it from any other degradation as we work with it. So I'm going to work with the TIFF. How do we size it? Well, very simple. You've got image. We're working with an image. You go click on image and you'll see all these tools. we just want to look at the image size. All right, so here's our image size of the actual image I'm going to use for this exercise. It was previously worked out on the model itself. I've got a bit of paint, green paint, continuing this down on the edge of the frame, and the same up the top, and it gives it almost a three-dimensional quality, although it is subtle. But what we want to do is select millimeters. We want to make sure we're at 300 resolution. That's the first one to enter. And then we want to constrain proportion. So if we change the height width, it doesn't squish it or expand it. It keeps the height relative to the width, etc. So here I'm going to go 123 mil. The width here, the larger number, is 1 millimeter short. I measured it incorrectly the last time. Sorry, Waldman. So I'm just going to go back there, type in 123, and hit tab. And now my height is 71.61, and it should be 69.5. Now here's the thing. In image size, if I change that, because it's constraining the proportions, that's only going to change that again. So because the 123 is the larger number, I'm going to leave this exactly like this, and I'm going to hit OK. That's our correct resolution. That's our correct width in millimeters, 123. But we have to fix this. We can't in image size. So let's just hit OK. You'll see it changed a bit. This is now where we fix this. We're going to trim our height slightly, make it 69.5. What canvas size, you go up to image again, there's image size, right beneath it is canvas size. Once again, select millimeters. Now, who knows why, but it's already changed the width slightly, 0.02 of a millimeter. I'm going to make that perfectly 123. But here's where we fix the height. It's only slightly wrong. I'm going to put in, you guessed it, 69.5. 69.5. Yes. Hit the tab. So 123 wide, 69.5, correct. And I'm going to anchor it in the center because this is going to trim our actual image slightly, but it's going to keep the proportion. It's not going to squish it or expand it. So canvas size is where you do that. Let's hit OK, and you'll see it's going to go a little bit. 1, 2, 3, and I'm about to burp. Let's have a look, and proceed. Yes, do it. See, it double checks. Do you really want to do that? Yes. Okay. And you saw it just trimmed a little bit off the top and bottom. That's fine. It still suits the purpose. All right. That means we've got our actual image sized correctly as per our measurement. Let's leave that now. The next thing I do is go up and create a new project file, right? Now this is going to be a template. And this is another way that you can prep this, and I'm going to show you this as an option rather than mucking around like what we just did. This way is another way of doing it, and it can be good when you really want to muck around with the positioning of a graphic that's got plenty of stuff you want to trim off. I'll use the other Wildman thing to show that, because as we saw, it's got plenty of extra black around it. So make a new file. Here it is here, and just like we did in the sizing, we'll get the size right here. Now normally it's set to a white background, I believe, background color, and I believe the color is white. Don't hold it against me if it doesn't turn out like that. I'm not going to worry naming it. I'm just going to go, yes, it's set to pixels, 300. See, it defaults when you start a new one. That's because that's the minimum professional editing excuse me, I just bit my tongue. Editing resolution for working with images. Not bloody 72 like on the internet. That's garbage. We're in the real world here. It's 300 is the minimum. More if you can do it, but 300, you're pretty well safe. Width, again, 123 millimeters. Height, You guessed it, 69.5. And 3, yep, that's all right. Let's hit OK and see what happens. Boom. Now, you might have noticed that's the same size as the image that was just there. We've got a new tab has opened. I've untitled, I'm not going to bother titling it, but here's the one we just set up. All right, and then here's the template we just created. Exactly the same size on screen, yeah? But you can do this first, create the template first to the exacting size that you've just measured, and then when you import your graphic, like this one, actually let's just step back. Yeah, I want all the black and it's smaller. What you can do is, well, first of all, let's just say you've imported your graphic, your screenshot. I will still, at the very least, when I hit image size, I will see it's 72. I will always set that to 300. We've just set up the new file to be 300 pixels per inch resolution, so I want this to be as well. But see, it's like it's massive poster size, and of course it's going to look like utter crap. So I'm just going to set it to say 100, and let's just really go extreme. 200, not centimeters, but millimeters. And because it's constraining proportions, it's already adjusted this accordingly, right? All in proportion. Hit OK. There it is. Now what I'm going to do is hit Command A on my computer. It's selected this image. I'm going to do Command V, which is simply copy it. And I'm going to do it a couple of times because sometimes it, yeah, don't ask. I'm going to go over to our template, which is here, and to paste it in here, I'm hitting Command V. So it's copy and paste. Now, if I use my selector tool, I can then move this around within that template and see how I can size it any way I like within the confinement of that preset template. If I go over here, I can turn it off. There's our white background, like so. It's another layer in Photoshop now, which I can move around, maneuver, and I can resize it by hitting Command T. Oh, where's it? Oh yeah, there we go, there. And it's highlighted the whole image, but what I can do is I can go, can you see that? Command, hold Command down, and then on the screen with my thingy. Oh, no, I just stuffed it up. Look at that. Good thing we can go Command Z. It's Shift, sorry. Shift, drag, and I'm doing this one-handed with the camera. I'm holding the camera and holding down Shift at the same time. I've just shrunk that a bit, so it's a bit smaller within there. And, you know, let's say I'm happy with that. That could be the new Wildman pick. But remember, like I said, I've painted little green claw marks on the actual frame. So I'm going to use the other one, but this just shows you another way. You create the template to size first and then drag your image in, and you can resize it accordingly to fit the template you've created, the correct size template. Either way, you'll end up with the same thing. Now, the next part is the critical part, and this is what you really need to do right, otherwise you'll never get it to print the right size. And that is to create a template that is perfectly sized to a piece of A4 print paper. All right, and just give me a sec. I've already got one created. I'll just fetch it and bring it up. Let's do an edit. Okay, here we are. Here's our A4 template. This is for printing, right? So when I take this upstairs to print, or if I had the printer down here connected to this computer, I find it a great idea to make sure that your actual file, your image file that you're feeding the printer, is perfectly sized to the millimeter to an actual piece of print paper. And I can't remember off the top of my head what those sizes are. It's something like 29 point something that centimeters that way. And get yourself a ruler and bloody measure it. You know, get an accurate accurate measurement. Create a template the way I just showed you by opening a new project, put in those measurements, and there's your template. Now let's go over, we've got this tab open. We're going to go back to the one where I've already sized it correctly. We know it's correct, which was this one. I'm now going to double check that before I bring it over. 300, yes. Height, 6 points. Sorry. Oh yeah, let's switch that centimetres to millimetre. It gets me every time. It's millimetres. 69.5. Well, it's saying 5.1. Isn't that magical? How it's this bugs me. It changes it, but look, that's microscopic. I'm not going to worry about it. 120. Well, let's just do it. 123. 69.5. Okay, there it is. So what I'm going to do now is, like I did showing you a moment ago for the other thing, I'm going to hit Command A. That puts this dotted line around the outside, and Photoshop refers to this as it's been selected. And then I'm going to hit Command C for copy. Do it again just to be sure. Then I'm going to go to our A4 page tab, and I'm going to paste it in. There it is. Now what's happened is that is the correct size now sitting on a A4 page simulation. I can move it around, position it. Usually I bring it in to the center and give myself plenty of edge there, because some printers don't like printing close to the edge. So there it is. And also, while we're at it, I need the YouTube logo. Open with Photoshop. Now I'm going to check this if it's not sized. God, I've got the burps. Oh, I've got the burps tonight. It's going to come out any moment. Image size. It's 300, so I've prepared this. Here's one I prepared earlier. And it's supposed to be 31 by 102. And that does not look correct at all. Wow, that's not correct at all, is it? 31 by 102. All right, so let's put our width at 102. That makes our height there. Okay, well, I'm going to live with that. I'm going to go over now to canvas size, because I'm going to shrink that height a bit. Once again, it loves defaulting to centimetres. Get rid of the 0.02 nonsense, and we want the height to be, what was it again? 31. 31. Done. I'm going to anchor this trim of this canvas size to the center, so you can anchor it to one side and just shrink it in here, or vice versa, and then up and down, but we're just going in the middle. We're anchoring it to the middle. Very simple. 102, 31. 102, 31. I want to glue this directly over the top of the other one that's on that billboard, so that's the exact measurement I got. I'm going to hit OK. Yes, proceed. Donk, it just, that's fine. And again, this is a JPEG. You can see it's all icky on the edge. If we shrink that down just on the screen, as it gets smaller, it's looking a bit better. It's not great, but anyway, what I'm going to do, that's sized right. We're going to do a select. We're going to do a copy. We're going to go over to our tab, which is our A4 simulation page layout. I'm going to paste it in there. There it is. And folks, that is it. That's all I need. Now that looks right to me. When I print it out on a piece of glossy photo paper, they should be sized exactly as we've measured. Right, we didn't frig with it, we didn't change any resolutions after the fact. We got all that sorted, brought it in onto that A4 page. It's laid them in there as we set them, and as long as we get our settings on our printer, They should print out exactly to the millimetre, or even 0.5 of the millimetre. So what we do now is I go up to layer, because this is several layers, right? There's all sorts of things in this particular template. And we're going to flatten image. Yes, discard hidden layers. It's now one finished layer. And I'm going to save this. Save as format. Look at all these bloody formats you got to learn about. I sort of know Photoshop is our Photoshop file, but TIFF is the one we want. There's JPEG. There's what's a DICOM? CompuServe GIF. A BMP is one I should know. PNG is another handy one. The rest I don't even bloody bother with. Mainly it's all JPEGs and TIFFs, but I'm going with a TIFF because once again it maintains exactly what we've ended up here. It doesn't compress it, it doesn't alter it, it doesn't change the size in any way. It's exactly as we've set it. So that's our format. And I'll just call this Wildman Remake TIFF. All right, I'm going to put this on my desktop, and we just hit save. There's some more twaddle. I don't even know what that is. Let's hit OK at the default. And I love it when it tells you it's all done. Well, it doesn't, does it? And now we're going to go in search of where the bloody thing got to. Where is it? Here it is, here on the messy desktop. Yeah, lots of projects currently underway. Let's click on that. We're opening this. That is now an image file on its own right. All right, we can zoom out, but it's perfectly sized to an A4 piece of paper, and within that piece of paper, perfectly sized graphics ready to be cut out with a knife right on the line. And folks, I guarantee if you get the print right, but there's a trick to it. That's where a lot of people go wrong. They get this far and they stuff it up at the printer. I'm going to show you what to do. They should print exactly now as we've specified. So let's get this upstairs and let's print this thing. Awesome. What are you doing, you little sneak? You're trying to get a mouthful of ink again, are you? No, she didn't get a mouthful of ink. I'm just joking. But it could happen. Folks, I've found the file. I'm clicking on the file. It's opening. It's a TIFF file. It's larger than normal. There it is. It's open. Now, the first thing we need to do, this is preview on Apple. Again, if you're using a PC, do whatever you need to do exactly what I'm doing. I'm going up to Tools, Adjust Color, and on my system, I'm not recommending you necessarily do that. Good on you, cat. Destroying everything. Probably make an improvement to the room, so yeah, I'm not going to go cranky. But I'm going to this exposure, and I'm just cranking that up a little bit because it prints better, I find. Even though it might look a little bit washed out now, it tends to print dark on this. So this is just a little thing I do to make it dead easy to get a better quality print. I crank that exposure up slightly. Click that when it's done. The next thing I do is I'm hitting, please, no, please not now, please not now. I'm hitting Command P, that's my print command. The print window comes up, and folks, this is the critical thing you've got to get right. First of all, where it says presets, default settings, I'm going photo on glossy paper. And then see how it says scale to fit? That's where everybody stuffs it. See, the percentage is 97%. What that's going to do is it's going to resize it as it's getting ready to print. So when it prints out, it will not be the size we've measured and set up. It'll change it and it won't fit. That's what everyone stuffs up. It's not necessarily in Photoshop, but it's when they're printing. Kitty, please. No, don't bite me. Ow! I'm not playing. I'm trying to show these folk how to print their graphics out. Yeah, all right. So what you do is you hit scale, and where it's saying 97%, you go, no, we want 100%. Hit tab, right? one copy, photo on glossy paper. That's the correct size, A4, 210 by 297. There's your sizing there for an A4 page, so take note of that. 210 by 297 millimeters. Obviously the 297 is that way. But scale 100%. We don't want it automatically reconfiguring it to fit the page on print. Scale 100%. It's exactly as we've set it up. Hit print, and we just sit back and wait for it. Let's see how long it takes. La-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da. Oh, I better watch what tune I mumble and hum, because I might get a copyright strike. Yeah. Here we go. I bet Wildman's excited of it at this point. He's been looking at that grungy sign for quite some time now. At long last, it's going to be fixed. Okay, folks, I had a little bit of a disaster there. The ink quality was terrible. You can see all these lines through it. Sorry about the lighting here. Look at all that line through it. But after the first pass, the ink ran out, so that's why there's lines through it. So I replaced the ink, tried it again, flipped this around, and it too was bad. So I've done a quick cartridge and head cleaning process in the setup here, and I've used some different ink paper just in case. This is slightly thinner. This is Crisp. I think it's more of a generic brand, but this is only 180 GSM, and it's a matte, and I don't mind at all. So it's not the super glossy, but it's printed nicely after doing it. The service over here, the setup, the head cleaning process, it's printed out nicely. I'm happy with that. So we're going to take this down, cut it up, and see how it looks. Alright, I'm down at the very messy tinker table. I've given this about half an hour to dry. I'm hoping, using the other paper, it's usually well and truly dry by now, so I'm going to dive in. I've got a nice straight edge to use. I've got my knife, and I'm just going to line it up on that edge as close to the edge as possible, like so, just so you can just see it, and do a couple of passes. That's that. Let's go down here, same again, right on the edge. The cat is chasing me downstairs. It's lingering in the background, so at some point it's going to jump up and hopefully won't stick its claw into the action, and we'll have to race to the vet. Stitches for the cat, not me. Well, you never know. Never know what's going to happen. They're unpredictable, aren't they? Oh, the baby's running around. It's getting close. So I'm just working my way around and just very carefully trimming off the white, contributing to the very messy tinker table. The very, very, very messy tinker table before too long. Okay, there is my YouTube. And we'll put that over here somewhere safe. What are you up to now? No, it's okay. It's all right. Go this way. I'm going to trim this off. Nice. Nice. Don't cut your finger while you're doing this, of course. Take good care. Close to the edge. Good enough. And finally, God, turn around. Can I get a grip of anything? There it is there. Good. Final cut. There we go. And there you go, slot car Wildman. There's your two new graphics. Let's hop into the slot car room now and see if these actually fit. We might have to trim a little bit off. Hopefully not. Hopefully they're a perfect fit. They just slot in over the top of the other. I'll just glue them straight over top of the other. And we're done. Almost. Okay, slot car adventurers. Back where we started, here's our two printouts. I kind of like the matte anyway. there's our old one, there's our new one. See the difference? And let's see if it fits. There you go, and even the little green bits line up as well. How cool is that? Perfect fit. And then our YouTube one, well, I don't know what went wrong there. I think my measurement was quite a little bit off, so I'll end up removing the old one and gluing this in its place, but that one's good to go. Yes, I don't know what happened there. I think I measured it incorrectly in the first place, so I can't glue it directly over the top, but it's darn close. You get the idea. This one at least turned out perfect. That was the important one. And the extra step I do is once these are glued on and in place, I take this outside and I use a photographic sealer. It's a clear coat for photo images printed on paper. Start off with a mist, let it set for a few hours, then I'll come back and do a much more generous coat before it's finished. But there we go, folks. That's how it's done. Watch the video back if you didn't catch everything. Just watch it again and again till you get the gist. If you're not using Photoshop, you're using other software packages, it's the same sort of thing. It's a methodical way of doing it. It's pretty darn easy, really. But yeah, down there at the print stage is where a lot of people go wrong, because they don't quite understand the scaling feature and all that. Follow those steps to the letter and you'll end up with a result that's a perfect fit, just like this one. Hope that helps you guys out. Now, before we finish up today, I've received some stickers. So let's put him over there. Yeah, he's dropped off the wagon. Let's get this open. Who could it be? I already know who it is. There's a little note for me. Interesting, Dan. Great to catch up and race the other day. Finally got some stickers. Talk soon. Beautiful stuff. Just some protective cardboard, and here they are. The slot car or garage slot neck Dan stickers. Don't they look great? Great design, Dan. They look excellent. Now, where are we going to put them though? Somewhere. I'll find a spot for them, but they're brilliant. Thank you very much, Dan. Great stickers. And folks, that's actually all I've got for you this week. Just a special, call it a craft edition, a sort of a walkthrough. So if you didn't quite catch everything, as I said a moment ago, watch it back a couple of times till you see exactly what I'm doing. It's pretty straightforward. It's methodical. And once you catch on, once you get the gist of it, you'll be able to go nuts, and you'll be able to do something like that, something like that, something like that. No limitations. So folks, thanks for watching. I hope that helps you guys out, and I will catch you next week with some actual slot car content. See you then.